Hi, welcome back to the Blissful Heart channel. My name is Desiree Lee and I am here to give you your weekly Bliss Fix. Today we are going to be looking at the energies of the week from October 11th to October 17th, 2021. Welcome back to my channel, to all of my subscribers, and for anybody that's new, I channel divine guidance for the collective. I am a twin flame in union, a yoga teacher, and a spiritual healer. If you'd like to book a session with me, go to YourBlissFix.com. I also want to mention that I have a Patreon page. For $1 a month, you receive a twin flame guidance reading for the collective. So it's $1, and every month I release a channel guidance reading of the twin flame journey, looking at the aspects of the divine masculine and the divine feminine in the heart, mind, and action space. It's a reading that I used to do on my channel and now is available on Patreon. Not only do I have several links in the description box below for other ways you can donate to me if I have inspired you or helped you in some way, but you can also donate to me by sharing this video, liking this video, subscribing to my channel, all of those good things, commenting, right? So please, if you haven't already liked this video, like it now, because I just know that you're gonna like it anyway. Last week I released a highlights video and I'm planning on doing the same this week. So, if you don't have time for the lengthy reading, then hopefully you have time for the more condensed highlights video. And obviously there's more channeled guidance in the more lengthy reading, which is why it's longer. So if you're feeling like you need some extra advice, you should definitely check in for the lengthy reading. So without further ado, let's get into this. Okay, so Angels of Truth, Love, and Light, what is the collective energy for the week? What is the collective energy for the week? 2 cards. Okay. Wow, we got rain, purification, and crystals, focus. Wow, it's so interesting because it's actually raining here in Idaho today. And so we have this idea of being cleansed and then this request to focus, right? So the new moon energy has helped us feel cleansed, and I do feel that many people had kind of like a resurgence of old feelings come up and had to kind of address some other blocks that they may have been overcoming, like having the ability to have like an external perspective of yourself where you can observe your thoughts, and almost like things are moving in slow motion where you have an opportunity to think about your actions before you do your actions, right? So I do believe we have those big DNA upgrades. So we're like an evolved being at this point. And so in that we have been cleansed. There's a purging of sorts, and we are free of old ways of living, old ways of being. And we are now like moving towards being focused on where we really want to put our attention, instead of being distracted with other petty things or small things that aren't really amounting to anything for you, right? Really putting your undivided attention on the things that are going to bring you joy and happiness in this life. And it's a superpower, right? It's a superpower to be able to use your heart and guide your intuition and use your thoughts inside and alongside your heart, right? These are the big electromagnetic transmitters of the human body. It's the brain and the heart, right? And together, which the heart is bigger than the brain, but together they work to create our reality, right? So we have to think about what we're transmitting as a radio frequency and really make sure that our station has no static, right? That it's not, disrupted by drama or, focusing on something you don't want. We want to focus on what we do want. So the overall energy is really more about kind of like a reminder of how powerful you are, and a request that like the slate is clean, right? The options for where you can go are open. So go ahead and get your writing tool out and write what it is that you want, and really feel into that and create into that. I'll go ahead and share with you another thing you can use in manifesting, and we call it an emotional set point. And or an emotional focus point, and you find something that you are trying to manifest in your future, for example a dog, okay? And I mean something that you know what it feels like to have that in your life, right? So if it's a dog, you've had a dog before, or you have a dog and you know how much love that dog can bring you, right? So you want it to be a familiar feeling, right? And B, you want it to be connected to unconditional love, right? So those two things, you bring that manifestation. So if it's a dog, but you also are manifesting a career and the love of your life and a house, right? The dog is in the house, and you are coming home or work at home, right? But you're coming home to your house from your magnificent job, and you start to like tie on all the other things you're manifesting, but the source, the hub of the dream is something that you can cleanly and clearly connect to, and it is unconditional love. Yeah. A little friendly tip for you that was channeled to me earlier this week, and I'm sharing it for free right here. Okay, so let's bring up the first three cards for the week. We have the Eight of Cups, the House of Three, the third house, and the Nine, assessing. So we have 8, 9, and then the third house. Wow, I mean, just this idea of walking away from something that you've invested a lot of time and energy and love and passion into. I'm just going to say that this spread has made me very emotional. I was talking last week, if you didn't know, that we were saying goodbye to the version of us that has carried us this far, because that version of us still has some lack of belief in themselves, right? And so we're not like throwing it away, right? We've graduated. It's like we've outgrown those clothes. They know those shoes no longer fit us, right? And so it's crazy how emotional the experience is, right? Because it's still you, it's you, right? But the familiarity of those wounds and that trauma and those barriers, not boundaries, but barriers, right? All of those protective layers, and just to say, okay, we don't need those anymore. And to really like have that conversation with yourself and to step out of that. That's what this Eight of Cups is talking about. Now, my spirit guides want to mention that it could very well be, because I also got this last week, for some of you, a relationship, whether a romantic one, a friendship one, or a work one, or all of the above even. For some of you, I feel like some of you are having such profound life changes right now that you are accelerating very quickly on your spiritual journey and having to let go of a lot of things very quickly, and it can be incredibly emotional. You're like on some wild ride, yeah? And then, so whatever the case, we're all saying goodbye to something that we've outgrown. This third house is talking about like your early childhood development. And in the guidebook, it talks about, looking back at a time, a memory in your childhood where you weren't heard, and to, go and talk to your inner child and say, your voice is important and I hear you. And to tell your inner child that he or she matters. This is a direct connection to part of the barriers that we have that we're letting go of, right? There's this correlation of, our childhood development and the impact of certain actions by our family or friends or environment, and how that affected us as adults. And we have outgrown that belief system. We no longer need to hold on to it, right? So, I mean, my guides are giving a very clear map here in terms of how to access. If you haven't been able to figure out how to access what you're letting go of, do that, right? And then we also got the assessing card, and this assessment card is very much about like the big picture and like moving and changing and growing and shifting, right? The number 9 is the only number that has repeated in this spread, just because we have several cards without a number on them. But so the 9 again, I think the 9 was last week, if I'm right, but the 9 again is about us shifting into like a new, we're moving closer to a completion of a cycle, right? So our cycles move from 0 to 10, well, from 1 to 10, and then we got 0 as a reset number and 11 as like an elevated experience. So we're nearing the completion still, and this assessment card is kind of like a transitionary card. You know, I was saying I felt like pulling a third card. I feel like these third cards are like a transitionary card to help move us into the next energy. But it is about like really taking a look at the scope of your life, including where you've been in this childhood, trauma that you're leaving behind, and where you're going, and right, thanking your childhood self, having gratitude for the lessons and for the people that have taught you, and for you yourself carrying you this far. So you're getting a new pair of shoes. You're moving into a new house. You're getting a new pair of shoes. You are getting a brand new pair of shoes, and you are moving into a new house, and you're going to make new friends, and you're going to be having a brand new experience that is going to feel a little unfamiliar to you at first. But in this new house with your new shoes and your new friends, you are going to be feeling so much more free, so much more close to living your authentic truth and being exactly who you were born to be. And you are going to be free of all of those limiting belief systems that have held you back in the past, because they are no more, right? And this goes back to that focus. You know, your angel spirit guides really want you to know that you are worthy and that you deserve all of the things that you could hope for or dream for, and that those hopes and dreams were put into your heart, put into your mind for a reason. It is your duty to show up for those dreams, because they're waiting for you. Whew, that took me like 10 takes. So we're assessing, and as we're assessing, we're moving into the Judgment card, card 20, with fire and power, the full moon. I think the Judgment card is so interesting because you get so many different perspectives from different decks. And this card talks about how the Judgment card sounds the horn and presents you with a crossroads. And it's like saying, you know, do you choose to show up for your calling? You know, are you ready to show up for what you came to this earth to do? I mean, this is what the power of this Judgment card is specific, right? I mean, just want to be clear that all of the Judgment cards are definitely referencing a different thing, you know, but each guidebook kind of gives a different flavor. And this one is very much about like, are you ready to show up for your calling? And it's right, it was channeled right before this, and it's been coming through like, choose your fire, your passion. Like, your purpose is like what ignites you, you know, what sparks something in your heart and makes you feel like truly alive, like truly like ready to be here, and to wake up in the morning and be like, oh my God, I love my life. You know, you can have that. If you don't already, I feel like you've at least had glimpses of it, and we're all striving towards it, and we can actually make it happen. You know, and it's never been as easy as it is now. Not to say that it's easy. but it is the easiest that it has ever been to manifest. And in terms of like how much assistance we're getting from the divine in terms of releasing the low vibration negative weight that's holding us down, holding us back, like we can do it. We have the power, right? Ooh, I just got like a from that. Okay, so the full moon power card, card 7. Full moon is not this coming week, the week that this is for. It's next week, right? And they're saying like, get prepared for that full moon power, because this is like, you know, so they're saying we asked you to do it for the Lionsgate portal. And I feel like for some of you, it might have been the first time that you genuinely sat down to write out your dreams, and that you genuinely sat down to write out your dreams and believed that they could happen. And we, ever since then, right, we put that wish into motion. We did the ceremony, right? And where we've been kind of being aided and removing anything that would prevent us from manifesting those dreams. And so you've been being confronted quite a bit by things that challenge you, whether it's an emotional conflict or, you know, an action, a habit that's been holding you back, right? All of the things that are low vibration have been coming up for you. While I love my office, I absolutely love it. I mean, you can hear every footstep, every footstep in the hallway. So in the middle part of the week, we are going to be feeling like, okay, are you ready to show up for your calling? We want you to really tap into your passion and what excites you, and get ready for next week with that full moon ceremony of really like putting the rest of the ingredients in the pot for full manifestation power. And I just want to mention that I have been hearing that November, something very profound is going to happen in the month of November for about 4 or 5 months now. And I'm not exactly sure what it is, but I have heard that it's going to be a very large energetic shift. Okay, so there's something significant that's going to take place in November, and I'm being guided to talk about this because it's directly connected with manifesting our dream. So again, I think it could be some sort of portal shifting, like where there's going to be like a big like lock and separation from certain timelines. I'm not, I mean, my guys are saying, yes, that's close to what it is, but I don't really have the words to express what it is. I've been hearing the middle of November, maybe it's November 11th, 11/11, that would make sense. Yes. Okay, we're getting ready for 11/11. We are preparing for the full moon on the 20th, but ultimately we're preparing for 11/11. Yeah. Okay. So, the end of the week, we have the Lover's card, card 6, and that did come out reversed. And what I did get after pulling these other cards, Cancer and Patience, is that the Lover's card may be blocked for some of you, okay? And for some of you, you are actually manifesting and bringing in your twin flame, your soulmate, your destined partner, right? A destined partner can be somebody that you're with for a moment, but is a huge key part in your soul spiritual growth, okay? And a soulmate could also be that as well. A soulmate can even be your best friend, like a non-sexual relationship. Soulmate could be like a family member, right? Twin flames is definitely of a sexual nature, and they are your split soul. I have heard people say that it is not sexual, so I guess I'm going to leave that out there for those of you that resonate with that, because I really do believe that the twin flame experience can vary greatly depending on the soul. I just find that the collective twin flame group, like the majority, have a very similar storyline. I think that there are exceptions to the rules, of course, and I always leave that out there. But we're drawing that relationship in, okay? And I do think it came out reversed to kind of put out caution, right? So one of the things I'm being guided to discuss in terms of manifesting, and this is directly connected with what I shared in the beginning of the video, coincidentally, is that if you are manifesting your twin flame or your soulmate, you want to make sure that you are actually manifesting what it's like to be in union, right? You want to make sure that like you are checking in with your emotional, your emotional currency, in terms of like, let's say that $100 bill, let's say $100 bill is like meeting the person that you love and having this chemistry and this spark, and it's like electricity and time stops, and it's just like, oh my God, right? I mean, you know what I'm talking about, right? That's like $100 bill. That's your emotional currency for that, which it feels like $1 million, I know. But like actually having a prolonged relationship and living with somebody in harmony, that's like, $1 million bill. Does that exist? I'm going to say it does for the sake of the conversation, right? So, we've got this $1 million bill. That's the emotional currency that we want to be like vibrating at. We want to attract not just the union, not just the coming together, right? But the living together, the being together, the waking up and having a cup of coffee in bed on a Sunday morning together, going out to dinner on a Friday night together, right? Doing the dishes and having an argument about who left the milk empty. I don't know, that's a random one, but I'm just trying to be like specific about a realistic fantasy here. We want to kind of eliminate the idea of fantasy and have it be a reality, okay? And so that's really fascinating that I channeled that conversation about the twin flames that that don't support twins that come into union, and here this is showing up in the reading. So we have this idea of the nurturing and the comfort and the protection, and you want to bring that emotional energy into your manifestation. You want to bring in the energy of feeling supported, feeling loved and cared for, feeling safe, right? And I just want to mention that prior to me coming into union, I had 0 examples of that in my life. There wasn't one person in my life that had ever made me feel safe and made me feel nurtured and cared for on a deep level, okay? And I was manifesting a fantasy, but it was a realistic fantasy in terms of like my expectations being, like he's meant for me, and whatever that is, I know it'll be perfect for me. Like acknowledging the fact that I'm imperfect too. And my guys are like, that also brings that judgment in where, like they just want me to kind of go back a little on the judgment card and talk about, that we are really the only ones that judge ourselves, and that, we don't have to be perfect to be loved. This is just such a powerful message right now, and you can be loved just the way you are, okay? That also means that your divine partner is also going to have some flaws, but the two of you are going to be working together so perfectly, and you will help heal each other. That is the power of a really amazing, true love. That's how it should be, okay? And I am very, blessed and humbled to say that I have that. And you can have it too. I want to, again, remind you that when I was manifesting union, I had no example of it, right? So earlier I was saying you want to try to find something that brings you unconditional love, something that you know and are familiar with. And I swear to this day that my dogs taught me unconditional love, and they're the only thing that helped me manifest and create an emotional connection to the idea of what it would feel like to be unconditionally loved by a human being. So, I think it's very important for you to really check in with your expectations, and also to check in with what you're fantasizing your life would be like. Have you only imagined the coming together, the prince sweeping you off your feet and then you're riding off into the sunset? Or have you actually imagined a day in the life 5 years later? It's important to be very clear about a regular day, because that is more obtainable in your mind. Is something that's a little bit realistic, right? You can add some of the fantasy and the magic, because it is still incredibly magical, right? I mean, two people that love each other coming together is a miracle, period. But definitely sprinkle in some realism in your mix here, in your soup. And then we see the Patience card, card 36, which is our second 9 in the spread. And this is very much about, life is about the journey, right? It's about enjoying the present moment and having patience. And, this is something I used to talk about all the time when I was doing my twin flame readings regularly, is, enjoy today. Live your life. Be happy. The more you can emanate, being in union, being in love, having that house, having that job, and just imagine, you act as if you already have it, because it's not about the money, it's not about the love, it all starts in here. And once you can really start to vibrate and emanate and radiate joy and love and happiness, the more everything in your life will start to match it. It really does work like that. I've been doing this long enough. I mean, if you were to see me 12 years ago when I first started my yoga journey, or 13 years ago now, my life has changed dramatically. And I just want to put this out there, because I was talking to my twin flame about this the other day, is that when you see young people, people maybe younger than you or your age, out on YouTube teaching about law of attraction, and you can see they've got a 6-figure income, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, how do I do that? What am I doing wrong? I thought I was doing it right. Why is this so hard for me? Because the older your soul is, the more karma you have to clear. And that means that you had a much more challenging life in this life. You have more trauma to heal. So it's impossible for old soul with a lot of karma and a lot of trauma to manifest joy and love and all these wonderful things until you have dealt with the trauma and cleared the karma by being of service. Plain and simple, right? So find a way to give back, whether it's your time or your money or your help in some way. Work on creating nothing but good karma, so that you're not out there hurting people's feelings or ruining people's lives, and you'll find that things will become easier for you as you go, right? But there's definitely a journey. Okay, so I'm gonna pull a final guidance card for the week, and with the True Black Tarot, I'm actually going to pull 2 cards. So I'm going to pull a spirit animal. Oh, and jumping out of the True Black, oh wow, we got the Magician and the Star card. Okay, I'm also going to pull a spirit animal. We got Porcupine Spirit 48, which is a 12 or a 3, time for beginner mind, and the Magician and the Star. So I'm going to pull up those cards on the screen for you. So I feel like Spirit is you are the magician. And I'm having a flashback. We got magician card last week in the reading from the Nightmare Before Christmas. I just like clear as day remembered the magician card and the Hierophant. And they're like, you are a creator, right? You can create. And the star card is all about hope, and believing in miracles and magic. And then the beginner mind from the porcupine spirit is like saying, release all of your doubts based on your experience. Don't be afraid to dream and to actually believe that you are a creator, right? Because it is a double-edged sword. You have to, when you take the power and the responsibility of being a creator of your environment, of your destiny, you also have to take accountability for certain things in your life being the way that they are, right? And so it is a mindset, right? And while some people have more challenges than others, we all have the same tools inside, right? And everything is part of a destined plan, is it not? So here we are creating our dreams with a fresh beginner mind, yes? So try to remove any bitterness, try to remove any resentment or fear or doubt, and really just embrace the power of you, right? Letting go of hate and fear, the things that hold you down, and really embracing love. And when you get to that elevated state, you will find that you can help others. And we're all here to help each other out, right? So I hope that this message finds you well. I hope that it brings so much profound change for you this week. And I invite you to share or comment below with any insights you may have had or any experiences that you're currently going through. And if you share this, that would be great too. All right, I will talk to you guys next week. Mwah.